Oh, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our second take on this one. Apologies for the confusion. It looks like there was a little bit of a misunderstanding with regards to the time of today's webinar. So we did one at 10 o'clock, which we had quite a few people on, and decided we would carry on with this one at this time in case people missed the change. So David, glad you could join us. Hopefully this will be a nice clean run through, I would think, bearing in mind we've not long done it. And as mentioned to you yesterday during the meeting, this really is just about how we position the upgrade and some of the key features that you can expect to see. So it should be quite decent. But we'll crack on. The way that I'm playing this is, if you've got any questions, there's two ways of doing it. One is just type into the chat box and I'll pick it up during the Q&A session at the end, or alternatively just mail me directly, and I'm more than happy to take any queries on the back of this one. So that being the case, I think time to kick off. So as I said, good morning and welcome to the first of our webinars for 2018. This webinar is intended to be an introduction to considering an upgrade to the latest version. We'll be following this webinar with several additional webinars over the course of the next couple of months, and those are intended to showcase the enhancements made to NAV. Our next webinar is going to be on the 2nd of February, and that will be a demonstration of NAV 2018, and we'll be showcasing what is new. In terms of today's webinar, we're looking at the reasons why you should be considering regular upgrades to your system and the tools that are in place to ensure that future upgrades are easy to achieve and are cost effective. I intend to start with an overview of what the webinar will achieve. I'll then make some mention of the changes in the Microsoft strategy that has occurred over recent times. I then intend to cover some of the key enhancements to NAV over the past couple of releases and the benefits to your business if you choose to upgrade now. I'll round things off with a review of how we go about conducting your upgrade and what you can expect. And then there'll be time at the end for some questions and answers. The webinar shouldn't last more than 30 minutes. The actual presentation piece of it is about 15 minutes because I do appreciate that we are all busy. As part of my duties in account management, I make every effort to visit all of our customers on a regular basis. In terms of the Metaphorix customer base, the majority of our customers are still on an older version of NAV. And there are many reasons for this. In the past, we've used the approach that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And in addition, many businesses that bought into Navision in years past took the approach that it was a platform product that needed to be customized in order to fit the business requirements. This has led to many businesses effectively being trapped in older versions, as the cost to upgrade was in many cases as much as it was to do the initial implementation. This was not a problem that was limited to NAV. Most mid-market or enterprise-level software solutions were guilty of exactly the same thing. From my own personal experience, I had to deliver an upgrade quote to Lloyd's TSB Commercial Finance to upgrade their CRM system that was many hundreds of thousands of pounds, and I can tell you that went down like a lead balloon. In recent years, however, the trend among software vendors is to change their approach in order to make upgrades easier, cheaper, and keep businesses on the current version. And there's a lot of good reasons for that. Number one, you keep things fresh. Number two, invariably you're more loyal to the software solution that you're on. But probably most importantly is that from a support point of view, it is a lot easier to maintain a current version than it is to maintain an early one. This has led to significant enhancements in functionality, more regular and smaller releases, and they're backed by the technology that make upgrades easier to achieve. We all change our mobile phones every 2 years. We all change our cars every couple of years. And why shouldn't software that runs our business be any different? It's very easy to change our phone. We just change the handset, and with a little bit of effort, export our contacts and settings to the new handsets. So why shouldn't our business software do the same? We change our phones because the newer handsets have more features and benefits. Unsurprisingly, the same can be said for our business software. In the vast majority of our recent upgrades that we've done, we've found that the majority of customizations that our customers have can be largely ignored, as there is functionality inside of Core Nav that will replace these customizations without having to spend time and resources upgrading existing bespoke enhancements. We've also realized that the way that we do business over recent years has changed. Today, it's about efficiency and delivering results quickly and effectively. As business people, key decisions need to be made quickly, and in order to stay ahead of our competitors, we need to be able to make these decisions by having all of the relevant information to hand. This is not to say that an upgrade means restarting from scratch. Customizations that are business critical will be retained and upgraded to the latest version. What we're talking about, though, is to take this opportunity to review the way that you do business, identify gaps in your processes, and look to solve problems that you have today. Your NAV system should be a tool to make your life easier and not a juggernaut that's out of control and causing you pain. I'm going to focus on some of the key areas of NAV in terms of efficiency savings that can be had. In the vast majority of the discussions that I've had with our customers, these are the key areas that come up time and time again when we speak about efficiency savings. As we become more focused on mobility as a society, the more people want to be able to access their applications on the move. The introduction of the web client a couple of years ago has been enhanced to a stage where there's no longer any gap between what you can get on the standard client and the web. And in many cases, the web client now exceeds the performance of the standard client. This is further enhanced when used on a smartphone or tablet device. Microsoft are driving people towards Office 365. We all know this. And there are several enhancements that have been introduced to add to this experience. Role centers were introduced several releases ago, but these have also been enhanced to the extent that they can now be integrated with applications like Power BI. I'm going to give you an overview of some of the main areas where upgrading can give tangible benefit. But obviously, what you'll need to consider is how these enhancements can impact your business. After this webinar, there will be documents available that will focus on the business benefits of upgrading based on the current version that you have. Also, if you'd like to discuss this further, then please let me know and I'll arrange to come in for a more in-depth discussion, as I appreciate there's a lot of information to digest in a relatively short period of time. As mentioned, these documents will be available to all of our customers and that in the main have been broken down according to releases. The way that we've done that is 2013 and earlier, 2015 and 2016. So depending on which version of NAV that you're upgrading from, this will give you more detail on the benefits and features that have changed in the latest version. What I'll show over the next couple of slides are some of these key enhancements that you can expect. The most significant enhancements are mainly around the ease of use and being part of a suite of products. Microsoft are following a strategy of moving into the cloud, and with the introduction of Office 365, Dynamics 365 and other cloud-based solutions, expect this to increase further in the future. We're already expecting, by the way, that NAV will join the Dynamics 365 suite of products, but watch out for more information on that in the future. These are some of the key features that you can expect to find in NAV 2018. You'll notice that there's a significant focus on enhanced reporting options, mobility, and how NAV integrates or interacts with other Microsoft applications. Now, I'm not going to go into great detail on every single one of these lines because, as mentioned, time is precious. However, those documents that I mentioned will give you a lot more information and a lot more detail on these. So starting off with Power BI. Power BI is a significant addition to the scope of NAV. It's now possible to use visual analytics that are visible in the Role Center. That improves the productivity as it keeps reports together rather than having to switch between applications. Power BI is, according to Gartner, one of the leaders in the visual analytics space in their latest quadrant. And it's something that we have a lot of faith and a lot of belief in. So there are demonstrations that are available that we can show you just to give you a flavor of how Power BI will be able to significantly enhance your experience. In the main, Power BI will form part of an Enterprise Office 365 subscription, but you do need to check that to make sure that you do have access to it. It's also available as a standalone subscription as well. So if you don't have Office 365, that doesn't mean that you'll be excluded from using Power BI as well. Moving on to role centers. Role centers have been available in NAV for quite some time. There's a basic version of the role center in the 2013 release. But this has proved to be a key piece of functionality in NAV in that it's greatly enhanced the usability of the solution. It allows for the user to set up a personalized homepage for NAV that contains all of the key information that they need to do their job. It means that the amount of time spent navigating around NAV is greatly reduced, and it does make things a lot easier. Outlook integration. During our 2017 customer day, the session that we ran on this proved to be one of the most well received. And in addition to the functionality mentioned on this slide, from an efficiency point of view, the integration is further enhanced when we integrate that with an Office 365 subscription, in that it allows for a far deeper level of integration across several Microsoft platforms. What we're essentially talking about is based on Microsoft research that said that we spend 40% of our day switching between applications. So the belief is, as we spend a huge amount of time inside of Outlook, wouldn't it be far better if we were able to order things, launch things like sales orders, purchase orders directly from our Outlook without having to interact with NAV? Moving on to the web client, the web client remains one of the most important enhancements to NAV. There is a significant requirement today for mobility, and by deploying the web client, you get the ability to use full function NAV across a variety of devices. That's from smartphones to tablets to PCs or laptops. Previous versions of NAV did have a limited version of the web client, but the current version of NAV, there's no loss of functionality in the web client. In effect, what this means is that when using it via a browser on a smartphone or tablet, you're able to access all of the areas of NAV that you would have on your laptop or PC. That includes custom items as well, because effectively what it's doing is pushing the whole of your NAV system through onto the mobile device. The enhancements that you're able to do with that and the increased functionality means that you can stay in contact and access key areas of NAV while you're on the move. In particular, we're finding this of huge benefit when salespeople are out on the road, maybe need to check stocks, maybe need to check credit limits, or find out a history of the client that they're going to see. So what approach should we take? As a business, you generally have two options when it comes to upgrades. One is to do a like-for-like upgrade, where we effectively give you the same solution that you already have and upgrade all of your customizations to the latest version. This is the approach that Metaphorix as a business has usually taken. It means that there's less change resistance as you get the new functionality too. But the downside of this approach is that in all likelihood, it will be expensive and require significant testing both by us and yourselves. Our preferred route is what we call a re-implementation, where we effectively give you a fresh installation and give you access to your old version as an archive record. The reason why this is our preferred route is that in all likelihood, you will probably have customizations that were done 10 years ago. They're probably no longer relevant as business processes and requirements will change over time. And the way that you do business is not the same as it was 10 years ago because the world's changed. This is a perfect time to review the work, the way that you work and the amount of effort that you need to do that work. I have been asked in the past if this means that you'll need to start again, and the answer is most definitely not. You already own the licenses, so there's no cost implication from a software point of view. The majority of the functionality that you will need will probably be in the core product, and any changes that you would need would be built as extensions, which mean that future upgrades would be far easier to achieve. The aim is that future upgrades should be done in a matter of days, not weeks or months. Upgrades from versions pre-2015 will be painful. And unfortunately, there's no escaping this, but future upgrades won't. And that means that you'll be able to stay up to date moving forward. I wanted to include this slide because we would approach upgrades in much the same way that we would approach most projects. Now, we use the sure-step methodology, and that's done to ensure a successful implementation. And this is a variety of the kind of things that you could expect to happen during your upgrade process. We talk a lot about scoping because, as mentioned earlier on in this presentation, one of the things that we'd be looking to achieve would be to do gap analysis and business process analysis in order to fill those gaps that potentially you might have in your business today. So we would always recommend starting off with a scoping session so that you can have a look at the new software and at the same time fully get to understand any pain points that you may have. That pretty much brings to an end the presentation part of today's session. But at this stage, if there are any questions, please feel free to pass those over to me using the chat facility. And as I mentioned, there are a couple of options that we have moving forward. If you like what you see, we can quite happily arrange to have a meeting and discuss this in a little bit more detail, or alternatively, by all means, mail me across any information. I will be making the slide deck available after this presentation, so it will be available for everybody to get access to, in addition to those documents that we spoke about earlier. So, as always, my contact details are here. They're included in the slide deck, so if you do have any questions, please feel free to email me directly. So at this stage, if there are any questions, please fire them through. Doesn't look like it. So what I would say is watch out for our next webinar, which, as mentioned, will be on the 2nd of February, and that will be the demonstration of NAV 2018. I'll have a consultant with me at the time. We'll be taking loads of questions then, I'm sure. So would just like to say thank you very much for your time, and if there are any questions, just mail them through to me directly. Thanks everybody, and have a good day.